So we'll do a quick recap of what we did a few days ago on Monday. So we look at the definition of biodiversity on Monday. What is biodiversity? And we all agree that biodiversity is purely bio plus diversity, which means life and biological diversity. And that biodiversity is an essential element for everyone, for every living thing. It's what helps us to breathe, it's what helps us to move. And then we look at biodiversity that is studied at three different levels: the ecosystem level, the species living in the ecosystem level, the genes specific to each species. And we moved on to look at the services that biodiversity that we're talking about provides for us. We looked at service regulation services, that these are benefits resulting from the regulations of the ecosystemic process. We looked at the support services, which is also called the self-maintenance service. We looked at domesticated and wildlife biodiversity, and that's where we brought the assignments which I gave to us to actually name some of the domesticated plants that we have in our horticultural enterprise. And then we looked at the wild biodiversity. What does it mean? And then we moved on to look at landscape biodiversity, what we need to put in our landscape, what are the other elements that things, hedges, grass strips that we need to put in our landscapes. Then we looked at some of the argument in favor of biodiversity. We talked briefly about why biodiversity is being favored now, because of climate change, because of our ecosystem, because we depend on it. Our life depends on this biodiversity. So all these are what it's very essential for living, which we talked about on Monday. Then we moved on to the importance of biodiversity. What are the importance of biodiversity? And then we did one or two activities, and that moves on to what we're going to do today. So let's go on with what we're going to do today. But before we move on, I want to quickly go back to the importance of biodiversity, to quickly talk about the importance of biodiversity, because it's going to link us to what we're going to do today. Importance of biodiversity, we said that biodiversity contributes to the well-being of human beings. It helps us, it helps our well-being. It promotes human health. It's when you, like I was saying last week, we know that the ecosystem around where trees are, the forest, the air that we breathe in around the forest is totally different. It's clean, the energy level is there, it's different. Even the soil, when you go to a forest area and then you look at the soil that is there, because the leaves are falling, they are decomposing, trees are dying there. Even the micro and macro organisms, they're eating themselves, they're dying, they're decomposing on the soil. The soil there is rich and is totally different. We always say that it's black and is rich in organic matters. Then biodiversity promotes technical innovation. You know, when you look at biodiversity, you're trying to, how can I do things better? How can I make the system work better? That's why it comes with all these new types of farming methods that we see, like we now have organic agriculture, we have permaculture, we have conservative agriculture. People are trying to innovate all the time. What are the different systems that we can use? So these are some of the innovations that are coming into place because of biodiversity. Then we see that biodiversity provides food for human beings. So we eat, and the pollinators are the ones that helps to pollinate, you know, even though some systems we do hand pollination, but we still need the pollinators, we need the insects, we need all those elements in nature to help us. So all these are what gives us food. If they are not there, then we have limitation to what we can actually grow. Then Then, sorry, Mr. Daniel, I just had to mute you. So, biodiversity uses natural resources more efficiently because everybody is able to use, every element in the nature is able to use what and they need, and then the other one is also using, the other one is feeding on this element. Like, for example, ladybug feeds on aphids. They are all elements in biodiversity, but they help each other, and also they help us at the end of the day. Then biodiversity protects against erosion, like we talk, planting hedges, planting grass strips, flowers, all this, and then using minimal machineries on our farm that we talked about on Monday. All this helps to protect against erosion. Then biodiversity ensures the future of forests. Yes, when we are mimicking the forest in a respective establishment, then we know that we are putting the forest into the future. But we create hedges, we create patches where trees grows naturally, or we have the wild area in our establishment where the wild trees are growing, where we didn't just cut down everything for our agricultural practices. Then we know that we are ensuring the future of the forest, which is very essential for human living. Biodiversity is a form of insurance. Yes, when we practice biodiversity, we are insured against, we can have some rest. We are insuring our farm against certain things, like when we have edges strips, grass strips, flowers, we know that some, and then we try to see what we are planting and what type of trees that we can put in place. We know that we are ensuring our farm against pest disease increase, because we know that we are providing food for this pests and disease to flourish. We are providing food for the birds also. We are providing food for the wild animals, for the rodents to eat in their environment. So they will not come naturally into our farm, that it's for us to make money. So it's essential that we create this environment for them, because they will always come. They are needed, and then they will always come because we went into their territory. So the last point is biodiversity has a numerous financial value. From creating different elements in our system, we will be able to see that like we have flowers around. We know that these flowers will increase pollination. And then once pollination increases, then it leads to higher yield. Higher yield leads to more income for us. Then like we said, we can actually create that environment whereby people also come again, they have natural area to relax, to do picnic. We can use it as a tourist center. We can use it as a tour place also, where people just see nature. Like if you have a lot of trees that are going extinct in your area, it could be even a place where children come and learn certain trees that they don't normally see around. So it could increase our financial capacity when we have all this on our farm. So from this, we can see that biodiversity has so many importance. This is just a few that we are mentioning today. So having said that, we move on to today's topic, which is relationship between biodiversity and agriculture. What is the relationship between biodiversity and agriculture? Can anyone just unmute and say in 1 minute, in 1 second rather, what do you think is the relationship between biodiversity and agriculture? Mr. Daniel?
Yeah, thanks, Benedict. I would say that most of the activities in the agriculture operation are quite components of the biodiversity. So it's either benefiting from the natural biodiversity or bringing in new things into the biodiversity. So it's like either introducing or making use of what is naturally available. So
Yes.
in the process of agriculture, it's either you develop the biodiversity or you degrade the biodiversity. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Daniel. Yes, you are very right. That's the relationship. Is it that you are promoting it or you are degrading it? Is it that you are adding to it, you are improving it, or you are reducing biodiversity on our environment? And we can see that biodiversity is a broad term. It's very broad. It's very wide. Nobody can actually, finish talking. You can exhaust biodiversity. And when we talk about biodiversity in agriculture, we're simply saying agricultural biodiversity. And it's also even a broad term. And then it's locally, it's a local component, because what works in your environment might not work in my environment, though there are certain principles that are the same, but we know that we need to mimic this nature according to what is available or according to what thrives in an environment. Like for some trees, they are able to thrive in the southern part of Africa, but naturally they will not thrive in West Africa. So these are things that we need to understand and we need to learn and we need to incorporate into our system. And then, as we said, that agricultural biodiversity, it's a broad term and includes all the components of biological diversity in terms of food. When we talk about agriculture, in terms of the constitution of the agricultural ecosystem itself, then in terms of the agro ecosystem itself, the agricultural ecosystem itself. And then we know that agricultural biodiversity that we are talking about is as a result of natural selection process that we humans have done over thousands of years. And this selection involves farmers, researchers, herders, fisheries, fishers, and all those people. For example, a farmer will go to the forest or he's going somewhere and we see a plant, a seeds on the ground. I'm like, I love this plant. I will carry the seed and then bring it to his farm and plant it. Or the cattle, the way our cattle move around, they eat a lot of seeds while grazing. And then when they come back into their resting place or the environment where they came from, they deposit, or even as they move along, they deposit their waste on the floor, on the grass. And as they're depositing their waste, some of them contain the seeds that they have taken. And then when they leave this waste, the seeds are able to germinate. And then we see trees sprinkling up all over that we did not even plant. Then birds are another example. The birds go on the trees, they pick the seeds, they pick the plant to eat. And then in the process, they drop the seeds all over, and then the seeds germinate, and then we see different trees that we did not plant even germinating, or that were not even in our establishment, in our cultural farm. When we started, they start springing up, and then we wonder, where is this trees coming from? It's these elements that are actually dispersing these trees for us. And then we can see that but agricultural biodiversity, it includes the diversity of non-harvested species that support production and the harvested species. So we can see that agricultural biodiversity is very, very wide, and it involves those in the wild, in those that we have domesticated. It involves everything, and all these elements also that supports biodiversity contribute to the level of biodiversity that we'll see in our horticultural farms. So we're going to do an exercise. And the exercise is the importance of biodiversity. We want to look at agricultural biodiversity if it's the foundation of agriculture. But before we do this exercise, I'm just going to tell us that biodiversity, as we are saying, agricultural biodiversity is specific. It encompasses the variety of all living things. the microorganisms, the plants, the animal, the human beings. And it is an essential component of biodiversity. Agricultural biodiversity itself is an essential component of biodiversity. Biodiversity is huge, is large, but agricultural biodiversity is just a fraction in biodiversity, but it's a big fraction of biodiversity itself. And it is a result, agricultural biodiversity is a result of interaction between genetic resources, between the environment, between the managers of this environment. So all of us have a part to play in managing and in bringing this biodiversity to place, or agricultural biodiversity to place. And then we have 6 ecosystem specifically that provide biodiversity in agriculture. And we're going to be talking about all this. But before we move on, I would like us to do this exercise. So I'm going to copy this link into the chat box, and then just use this, just use the link, copy it and put it in your phone or your system, where if you're using a phone with the browser that you are using, that you normally put www. whatever for searching. So just put that there, and then you are able to do the exercise even from wood clap. You don't need any technical knowledge. So can we also the link, please? So let's copy the link. Let's copy the link and put in our browsers, and then we are able to. Mr. Chinedu, are you able to do this?
Good morning.
Good morning. Are you able to copy the link and put in your phone or the device you're using?
Yes, I'm on it.
Yes, please. So if anyone that is on it, I will see the person.
Done.
And paraventure, you still can't go into wood clap. You can put it on if you agree or you disagree with that statement.
I've done that.
Okay.
Said waiting for next clap.
So it's telling you what, please?
So something like waiting for next clap.
Waiting.
It's like there's an information logo that says waiting for next clap.
It shouldn't tell you waiting. So, but from your answer,
You can just chat the answer.
Put
Just
the
chat
answer
agree or disagree.
or
If you are
disagree.
unable
And
to access the WOCLAN.
what do you agree about that question? Do you agree that biodiversity is the essence of life? Mr. Daniel, I'm waiting for your answer. Mr. Mikias, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, how are you? How was your night?
It was well. How are you?
I'm doing very well too.
Thank you for asking. I'm doing well as well.
Okay.
Yeah, Bennett, I've said my answer on the pull-up.
On the wood club. Did you send your answer to the wood club, please?
Yeah, I think from my side, I already click agree and submit it. Hopefully you can see from your side.
Yes, I can see from my side. Yes, please. So moving on, I will want a volunteer on one person that agrees. And if we have anybody that disagree, agriculture biodiversity is the foundation of agriculture. Mr. Mikias, can you help us discuss this in 2 minutes? Why you agree that agriculture biodiversity is the foundation of agriculture?
Okay, thank you for the chance. I think from the definition of biodiversity, we have all the flora and the fauna. And the agricultural activities lie on the relationship between these two things. So from my opinion, it's the biodiversity is the foundation for any kind of agriculture, be it the animal side or the normal agricultural activities. So I think this is the basics for any kind of agricultural activities. Without the biodiversity, we can't do anything, I think.
Thank you. Mr. Daniel, do you want to add your thoughts to this?
Yeah, I would say indeed, I agree with the statement because agricultural biodiversity has a role to play on the sustainability, for example, of some of the resources that are needed in agriculture, for example, on the soil health, and even the natural habitats around. So I agree with the statement that agricultural biodiversity is a foundation of agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opinion. I'm sure that there's nobody that will disagree on this note that agricultural biodiversity is the foundation of agriculture. Even if anybody does not know what to say, but you agree that it is the foundation, it is what is needed, it is the basis for agriculture to strive and to do well. Whatever type of agriculture that we are practicing, we'll just know that biodiversity, agricultural biodiversity is very, very, very important for it to thrive. Okay. So what are the importance of biodiversity to agriculture? The whole biodiversity has importance to agriculture. It's the foundation of agriculture, like we just said. It's the basis for the fauna and the flora to flourish very well. It is the basis for existence, even for life. And we know that agriculture is living in itself. The elements in them are living. So if they are living element, then agriculture biodiversity is their foundation. Then we can see also that agricultural biodiversity can provide a cost-effective way for farmers to manage pests and disease that we've been talking about. If you have all those edges and grass strips of, or you plant certain crops, there is a system called the pull and the push system. If you do all those practices and you create a place or you plant something for certain pests to feed on, then you know that you have minimal issues with pests and disease. Another thing is when we're using, biological pesticide instead of the synthetic one that is very harmful to the environment and even to this pests itself. We don't want to eliminate them, but we do not want to eliminate them in a destructive manner. So this, if we are using biopesticide, they are less harmful to the environment. They are less harmful to our water bodies. So we know that it is cost effective. And some of those things, they are found in nature that we can actually use. Some plants, they repel, they repel some pests. We can plant them. And so by doing all this, we are actually reducing the overhead cost of what we should be buying or we should be using. Agricultural biodiversity gives farmers option to manage climate risk. So by planting trees in your farms, you can have another ecosystem. You can have another feel of the environment in your horticultural farm. Also, you can mimic nature somehow when you have trees planted around your farm. I've seen areas whereby there are a lot of trees, planted in the farming communities. That it rains in one community and it's not raining just some few meters away from that environment. Some people say, yeah, it's God is. Yes, God has a factor, but we also have a role to play in this because it helps us to manage the climatic risk very well. Then there's less evaporation in our horticultural farm. When we have a lot of trees planted around the borders, we have a secured environment. So all these are what thrives when we practice agricultural biodiversity. Then agricultural biodiversity can contribute to health and nutrition. When we have varieties of food to eat, and we are not just having just one crop, we know that different crops provide different nutrition to human health. Even to us that are working on that at horticultural farm, I love to go to farms whereby at every point in time there's something to eat for even we human, not even the animals now. For us to eat, I can pluck mango at this season. I take pineapple, I can take plum, I can take, even the local varieties of different things that we have. There's always food for us, and every one of them has its nutritional composition, which is very important and healthy for us. And agricultural biodiversity can play a role in sustaining soil health, food and habitat for important pollinators and natural pest predators that are vital to agricultural production. They play important role in sustaining soil health. Like when we have trees, the leaves decompose on the floor, they add organic matter back into the soil. We can just see the organic matter. We can feel the organic matter level in our soil. We can see that our soil is getting richer by all those practices that we are doing or that we are putting in place. And then it's food for the habitat, for the wild habitat. We provide them food. We know that we are giving them food to eat at all the time. Some birds love to come to certain environments because they know that they will always get food to eat. That's why they keep coming. And then they have water to drink also. For example, the bees, they travel very fast sometimes during the dry season because they cannot get water. But when we have like water patches in our farm, we will see that the bees will come there. They will come and take water and then they will go back to their hives, and that helps pollination also. Then traditional knowledge of agriculture and cultural practice is often based on local species diversity and its uses. So we can see that one of the the definition of organic agriculture even says that it's incorporating traditional knowledge. So we can see that traditional knowledge of agriculture is used in biodiversity because we still keep the traditional varieties. We keep them. We don't want them to go into extinct. We try to preserve them. We try to preserve our local seed and others. And these are what is very, very important for biodiversity to thrive very well. So we move on to looking at the benefits of biodiversity to agriculture and the benefits of agriculture to biodiversity. So this has been divided into three, but the benefits of biodiversity benefits agriculture in three ways. In terms of productivity, in terms of adaptation, productivity, like it increases our productivity. We all know that environments where we have, like I've explained before on Monday, where we have a lot of trees, the trees are able to take water from the ground level during the dry season, and then they bring it up to the top, to the soil surface, and then our crops also is able to use them. And this helps us to reduce the water, with the water that we need for irrigation during the dry season. Because if our environment is not too dry, then the water that we need to put in, it will be reduced. Then also, even if there's drought, even during the rainy season, sometimes there's you know, the rain will just stop suddenly. It's happening now because of climate change often. And if we have a lot of trees planted, we have a diverse environment in our farms, we know that our crops are still going to thrive. When we use natural elements or pesticide or even natural fertilizer in our farms, it also helps in our production system, in our productivity, because the soil will be preserved, the natural elements in the soil, the microorganisms, you know, they will be preserved in the soil, and then they will help the fungi, the bacteria, they help, they multiply, they eat themselves, the arthropods, they eat themselves, all those fauna and flora, they multiply and they increase in our environment. Then adaptation, when biodiversity benefits agriculture in terms of adaptation, because when we are able to select crops that can adapt well to our environment. Most of the crops that we have now, they are hybrid, and that's why they are high resistance. They have high resistance to certain, you know, pests and diseases, because they are hybrid. They are not local varieties. They are not varieties that that can thrive well in our environment. We're bringing them in. We are mimicking them to thrive in that environment. More like most of the vegetables are temperate, you know, crops, but we are bringing them into the tropics to adapt them into our system. When we practice good biodiversity, it will help them to adapt very well into our horticultural farms. Then maintenance of ecosystem function. Biodiversity benefits agriculture in this way. Then we look at agriculture benefits biodiversity in three ways. How does agriculture benefit biodiversity itself? It's delivery of ecosystem services. We have looked at all the services in Monday class. We look at the different the support services, the regulatory services that biodiversity actually gives to us. The incentives, there are certain incentives that agriculture gives to biodiversity. The type of agriculture that we practice, it gives incentives to biodiversity, because the animals are able to, you know, to eat, they are able to get food at the time, they're able to get water, and they are able to thrive in that environment. Then ecological knowledge, we can use our indigenous knowledge to do things, like some of the preparations that are allowed in the organic or in some of these natural ways of growing food. They are ecological knowledges, they are innovative traditional ecological knowledge, and then we are able to adapt this into our establishment. So these are importance of biodiversity to agriculture in terms of the biodiversity benefit to agriculture, and in terms of agricultural benefit to biodiversity. So we're going to move on to talk about the links between biodiversity and other elements. Before we move on, any question at all? Any question, please? Hello, Madam Chido.
Hello, no questions.
Okay.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chinedu, any question or something that pops up in your mind as we are discussing? Mr. Chinedu. Mr. Timothy. Mr. Timothy.
No question from my own end.
Okay.
We have been having challenge with connecting to the internet. It has been giving us trouble. So that was why you can maybe you will not see Chinedu and Mr. Noble. But soon maybe they rectify the internet issue, then we'll try and connect back.
Okay.
So no question from my own end.
Okay. Thank you. And thanks for letting us know that also. So we want to talk about links between biodiversity and other elements. When we say other elements, water, soil, our health, soil fertility indicators, agritourism, population livelihood, and our farming methods. You can see that from my screen, some are in red and some are in black. The ones in red are the ones that we are going to discuss in our breakout sessions. The ones in black are the ones I am going to discuss with us now for us to have a feel of what we should discuss in our breakout session. Because in our breakout session, when we discuss it, one person will present to us what they have discussed and share with everybody what is the link between the topic they will be given in their own breakout session. So we look at links between agricultural biodiversity and soil fertility indicator. We see that special plant species are recognized both by farmers, researchers as indicators of improved soil fertility. Some plants have been said that if you see this plant in your horticultural farm or in your environment, it shows that the soil is very fertile. I'm sure that we have that in Zimbabwe to Madam Chido.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, can you give us one plant that comes to your mind that it has been said that if you see this plant, it says that the soil around that area is fertile?
Only that I don't know the names of the plants now.
Say it in your local, yeah, we want to hear it in your local language.
Okay, there's a plant we call moa. Moa normally grows like where people have put a lot of organic matter.
Okay.
So when you see that type of plant growing, and it grows very fast and very tall, it is a place which is very fertile. Where it is not fertile, you won't find that plant called moa.
Wow, wow. So
if it does grow anyway, it is very small. It's not vigorous growth.
Okay, wow, that's very interesting. So we can see that in every culture, in every place, there's actually plants that serves as indicator for us that this soil around this area is fertile. And these are indigenous, these are traditional knowledge is that we are talking about. We bring that traditional knowledge into today's agriculture, and it's in biodiversity that we find all this kind of plants. And one of this example that comes to my mind is the Imperator cylindrica. It's a plant that when people see it thrives very well in most tropical areas. And when people see it, it's an indication that the soil fertility in that area is declining. This one is not to improve, but it is actually declining. It's the soil in that area, it's not doing very well. And it's an indication when you see this Imperator cylindrica in your environment that it's able, I'm saying the botanical name because it means different thing in the different, what we call it in my local name is different from what you call it, but Imperator cylindrical is the botanical name. If you Google it, then you can know what it means in your local name, or you can see how it looks in your local name. So it's an indication that soil fertility is decreasing. So we need to check, or we need to ask. Some of the times you see there are certain areas in our horticultural farm also that you know that because this plant is there is an indication that the soil fertility is high. So I can plant certain things there that will thrive, or that is very good, that is high in certain elements that I need. So another one is links between biodiversity and agrotourism. You see, I've been talking about tourism because I love farms where we can come. It's not just we want to see beautiful crops. We want to see people come. People want places where they can relax, weekend, holidays. And there are few places like that you can actually relax and then feel nature in its natural sense. And this is a system that we can incorporate no matter how small it is in our establishment, and then can give us revenue. Some countries rather are actually promoting this, and that's why we have tourism. People go to natural parks, you know, and then they see nature. We pay some money before you enter the natural park, and that's why government also puts the natural area reserved areas so that trees are not fell around that area, and then they convert that place into a tourist environment. And these are things that promote even a community that does not have anything, that people don't know, suddenly has a natural park, and people comes there to relax, to see what is in that environment. It promotes the livelihood in that environment, because certain functions will start coming to place because of that natural park that is there. So there is link between biodiversity into agrotourism, and then we can use it to increase our economic value. So we look at the links between biodiversity and the population livelihood. We can see that biodiversity provides support for population livelihood. We see that a lot of farming community, most of them depends on the forest for their food, especially in our tropical environment. We see that most of those environments with very low income, they depend on the forest for their food. They go into the wild to collect a lot of food. They go into the wild. There's also some things that they take from the wild that they even sell, like this grass that they use for raffia, that they used to weave. I know in Kenya it's there, in Ethiopia it's there. We call it different names, but it grows in the wild. It doesn't grow in the open. So they go there, this low-income community, they go there, they harvest these grasses, they dry them, then they weave baskets or different things with it, and then they sell it. So they also do charcoal, even though it's not good to fell trees, but this is where they go. The forest is where they go, that they actually fell trees, or they pick the trees that are falling for their own energy to use at home. So we can see that from the low income, and then it has been statistically proven that about 3 million people actually depend on the forest for their livelihood in the tropics. So a lot of people actually depend on this forest. And so if agriculture is cutting down the forest, we're actually saying that the livelihood of this set of people is going away. We are cutting them away. And if we don't replace those trees also, it's going to affect us even in our horticultural establishment. Then we see the link between biodiversity and the farming methods. There's so many farming methods that are now coming to place. For one, we are going to talk about is agroforestry. Agroforestry is an ancient knowledge. It's something that it has been for years before us. It's been there. All of a sudden, we eliminated agroforestry. We started doing monocropping. We started clearing the entire surface for agricultural practices. And now we're saying, bring back this system agroforestry. And what's the system? Planting trees in our agricultural farms or in our agricultural establishment. It's knowing what tree that would thrive better, knowing what tree that is of economic importance. Because, you know, sometimes the farmers will ask me, how will I leave all these areas and just plant trees? And, you know, it's somehow it's something that certain people can't understand the benefits that all they want is a monetary benefit. And I tell them, yes, you can even plant economic trees there. The leaves will still drop, but you can get probably the fruits to sell. For example, cashew is one example that you can plant, and then you harvest the nut and you sell the nuts, but the leaves, the fruits, everything drop. Even the fruits is money in itself because you can make a lot of products, jam, you know, cheeses, sweets out of the fruit. And so it's not just saying plant ordinary trees that has no financial implication. You can mix all this together around your borders, and then it can give you another kind of ecosystem that you need to thrive. So agroforestry is important now. Even in the vegetable farms now, we're saying that practice agroforestry. Choose different trees, leguminous trees, plant them in rows. And when these trees their leaves sheds, they drop they fertilize the soil, and then it increases the soil fertility, because we know we're in the tropics and our soil fertility level is lower than the temperates anyway. So it's important that we use different methods that we increase our soil fertility. So also conservation agriculture, that's another method that is being used now. So conservation agriculture promotes covering the soil all the time. Even when you are not planting, you plant cover crops there. There are different types of cover crops for different reasons. We have some that they are good for, that even controls nematode. All these are things that biodiversity is bringing into play. Another farming method is organic agriculture. All these farming methods are different and their principles are different. Another farming method is organic agriculture. And we all know that organic agriculture is a production system that sustains the health of the soil, the health of the ecosystem, and the people. So practicing organic agriculture is another biodiversity on its own, because in organic agriculture, we say that we do not encourage monocropping, we encourage mixed cropping. You need also resources from the animals also to put into your soil as soil manure. And so we promote a whole system also in organic agriculture. Permaculture is another farming method that is being practiced that involves a lot of biodiversity, because this one involves a planning of the entire system before you go into it. Where is the house going to be? Why should I put this element at this particular place? Then we plant according to nature. What is my wind direction? Where's my sunrise and my sunset? All these information is what permaculture uses, and that's why it's a unique system on its own. Then we have the climate smart agriculture. The climate smart agriculture approach, it is designed in such a way that it develops technology, the political involvement is there, the investment opportunities are there, and all these are put into place so that the farmers can actually make money from their investment. So that is why it's called climate smart agriculture, because we all know that climate is changing, and so we need to look at how we can actually farm in such a smart way to mitigate the current situation that we have found ourselves. So these are all the different links between agriculture, biodiversity, and the different elements that we find ourselves in nature. So any question on this note? Because Any question on this note? Any question, please? Any question, please? Mr. Mikias, can you please tell me the correct way to pronounce your name?
I think Mikias is okay, but you can also call me Miki, the shortest one.
Thank you.
Yeah. From my side, no question. It's clear.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Timothy.
Yeah, from my own end, there no question.
Yeah, is Chinedu and Noble with you there? Are they with you?
They are not with me. They are not with me. They are not close by. But they are not, I think they are connected too. Yes. They are not close by.
Okay.
Nobu is trying to connect.
Nobu is trying to. Chinedu has connected. So I'm trying to wait for.
We have to change location so as to get a very better network connection. So that's why all of us just have to scatter like that.
Okay. 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 All right. So now we're going to our breakout session. And in the breakout session, I have assigned topics to us based on biodiversity to soil, biodiversity to health, biodiversity to climate change. So you will see the topic in our breakout session, and then let's discuss what is the link between this element and biodiversity. And then someone should be jotting and making notes and pick the person that will present to all of us the outcome of your discussion. It's going to last for 20 minutes, and then we're going to present. Each one will be given 2 minutes to present. So I'm opening the rooms now, and then you will see the rooms that you have been assigned to. Have we seen the rooms? Have we seen the rooms?
I think they have all joined.
Yes, I have assigned you to a room too, Ms. Ayo.
Yes.
So I assigned you to climate change. So I will keep moving you around.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Welcome back, Mr. Timothy. Thank you, everyone. Yes, welcome back, everyone. It's interesting to see the different discussions going on in our different breakout room session, and it's helps us to be able to, you know, as co-trainers, to listen to each other and to give ideas to each other and brainstorm. So which group wants to go first? Which group wants to take the lead to give us the 2 minutes discussion, what they have been able to put together? You say your topic and then you tell us what you have been able to discuss.
Hi, Benedict. I think our item was the first one among the list, the link of cultural biodiversity to water.
Okay.
So we managed to highlight a few items. So for the first one was water provides, it provides food for generally, let's say, for example, the fish, they are able to abstract their food from the water. The plants also are able to uptake nutrients through the water solution. The other link was the biodiversity helps in the purification of water. For example, the plants participate in the water cycle. The other issue we highlighted was, for example, some of the crops or the initiated biodiversity, for example, the hedges, they regulate the flow of water. So in the process, water is able to infiltrate into the aquifer, which helps in the cycle of water. The other biodiversity we discussed was, for example, the cover crops. They help in control of evapotranspiration. For example, the water that is infiltrated in the soil under the cover crops will not be able to evaporate so fast. And again, the cover crops also helps in improving the leveling of the soil. So hence there will be no issues like soil erosion because of water flowing. Some of the biodiversity, for example, the earthworms help in the porosity of the soil. So more water will be able to infiltrate, which will be more available for agricultural crops.
Thank you.
Brief, yeah.
Thank you. You've done well. Who wants to go next? Which group wants to go next? We have climate change and soil.
Yeah, morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Yeah, we actually discussed about diversity and the link, and its link with the soil. And then we actually says the disturbance through any number of threats of the soil. The disturbance of the soil is actually bring about reduced biodiversity. We're talking about the soil fertility, the organic matter on the soil, the nutritional which are available for plant growth, the use of farm machineries on our farm land, which has actually increased and reduced or disengaged, or I don't know what's another word to, has compacted our soils. And then all agricultural activities has distorted the soil structure in general. And the use of pesticide, herbicides, fertilizers have actually reduced the microbes and the organisms
Mr. Timothy, we are losing you.
For the that was the major things.
Mr. Timothy, we are losing you because of your network. We are losing you. We are losing you. Your network is failing. So let's move on to the last. I mean, we got most of the first set of information that you shared with us. Thank you very much. The last group is on climate change. Madam Chido. Madam Chido, can you unmute yourself? Who is presenting?
She was the only one in the group.
No,
So
I moved someone else there. Chinedu was there with her.
Okay, maybe later on, because while I was discussing with her, we were just the two discussing.
Yes, when I got there, I saw that Chinedu system went off, and he was waiting to be reassigned again. So I reassigned him back to Madam Chido. So Madam Chido, can you unmute yourself? So Okay. Chinedu is trying to connect back. I'm sure Chinedu is supposed to present. We just wait for. Oh, so before while they're trying to connect, the link between climate change and biodiversity is linked, as we see in the carbon circle, the water circle, and the head circles. These circles actually share with us the link. Okay, Mr. Chinedu.
Yes, madam.
Yes, please. Can you present on your climate change?
Can I?
The discussion you had at the climate change. You need to present.
We didn't have a comprehensive discussion about it because my network was bad, so I was kind of locked out. But
Yes.
on my own side, I've been able to put up a few things.
Okay.
So
Can you share with us?
Okay. So we are discussing about factors that contribute to climate change, and some of the things we were able to highlight was one, afforestation. Positively, afforestation is one of the things that helps affect the climate condition. Then deforestation is the negative aspect of it. Excess felling of trees affects the climate in a negative way. Then the second thing we also listed out was bush burning, the burning of forest and other and the environment naturally affects the air we breathe, the water, and every other thing that contributes to agriculture. Then tillage, tilling of the soil. I think it affects the climate as well. Excessive tilling has a way of causing erosion, leaching, and other this thing that affects agriculture and the climate as well. Then the usage of fertilizer, the excessive usage of fertilizer is also another thing that also affects the climate. The excessive usage of these fertilizers has a way of emitting some gases to the atmosphere. So I think these are some of the things I was able to highlight on my own side.
Thank you very, very much for sharing with us. Yes, that was what I was trying to come to help you say, but I was happy that your network came back and you were able to present. So we can see that others, Mr. Madam Chinedu, that's accepted your apology. We are in Africa, and so we don't understand what network is like here. So we all experience it at different times. So we can see the link between biodiversity and the different elements that we have talked about. And that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. Open the floor for question. If there are questions, is there any question from anyone, or is there something that pops up in your mind while we're discussing that we need that you want to share with everybody, or you want to clarify? Mr. Ignatius.
Hello.
Your microphone is on. Do you want to share anything, or do you have a question? So Mr. Noble is asking a question on the group chat. Where do we classify natural disaster like earthquake, volcanoes? Where do we classify them? We classify them as natural disaster. They are destructive to our biodiversity when they happen, but we can reduce them happening. But some are natural occurrence that it's not because of something that anybody is doing, but we find some things naturally occurring in the environment. Even though if they trace it down, it's still an effect of one or two things that has been done in the environment. So, or to the environment. So, but we say they are natural occurrence because it's not totally something that humans have 100% control. That's why it's happening that way. So we can say they are negative to our ecosystem, and they are negative to biodiversity when such things happen, because it destroys our environment. It creates, the volcano releases different gases into the atmosphere and into our environment that is very harmful to humans and even to the organisms. So that's where we can classify them, but they are natural occurrences that happen that necessarily might not be 100% due to human behaviors or human efforts. So if there is no other question, I will hand over to Mr. Ayo that will take us in the next phase, and then we end the session. Mr. Ayo, over to you.
Thank you very much, Olawumi. I want to believe we had a nice time during the course of the training. Quickly, I'm going to share my screen and take us through what we will need to do because of the weekend. So as many of us are already familiar with the e-learning platform, once you log in, you come straight to week 1 introduction to biodiversity, and then you scroll down. Once you scroll down, you are going to see the scroll. This is what we refer to as scroll. And once you open it, I like opening them in another window. Once you open it, you are going to have this. And once you have this, just press enter. Once you press enter, you have access to what Alaumil has been discussing with us since Monday up to this junction. So once you press complete scroll or through, click on the role and importance. Okay, so once you press enter, okay, now you wait for it to come up. It will come up and show up for you. Then you can read up on everything Alaumil has been saying by and by. There is a link here because my Zoom is covering it. There is a link here that you can scroll, and you continue to scroll till you get to the end of the scroll. Then, of course, once we go back to the main page, which is the week one introduction to biodiversity, we've already discussed the scroll. You come to the PPT. The PPT that Alaumil use, you can also see it right there. Once you click on it, you are going to be able to access it. Then the H5P is another platform that you can view everything that has been shared so far. So good. Can you see the display here now? You watch the live videos. I mean the videos about what Alaumil has shared with us. You can see one here. What is biodiversity? I mean, why is biodiversity so important? Just like Alaumil shared, what is biodiversity? You know, this is more of a wildlife biodiversity, and you can see why biodiversity is important, which another video, you know, the way we relate and how it affects the environment that we live in, then the importance of biodiversity. All of this are put there for you to view. Okay, I'll go back to the main platform again. Okay, so going back to the main platform, I've already discussed the video you can watch to enhance the learning process that we have just discussed here. Then you can now move to your mini quiz. With mini quiz, you will see the exercises that you can attempt. All of these are what have been taught, you know, in the course of the training. So once you click on it, type patience now. So once you click on it, you will see the mini quiz. This is the mini quiz. You have 2 attempts. As you can see here, you have 2 attempts. You can just click on this. Once you click on it, you can, you have to start, then you attempt the quiz. I'm going to go back to the main platform. Okay, we are back on the platform again. So after the mini quiz, the exercise I showed to us on Monday, for some of us that have not been able to attempt it, you can attempt it by downloading it. Once you download it, fill in the tables there, then upload it back, and we will see it here, and we will grade it. Then the last but not the least is the text your knowledge on the introduction of biodiversity. It's just 10 questions, and they are basically on what Olawumi has taken us on. And I'm very sure that at the end of this, I believe you will have a comprehensive message of what Olawumi has taken us. So I want to believe that we all understood what I've just discussed. I'm going to share my screen now. May I know if there is any question you may wish to ask concerning what I've just shared with you?
Yes, where you talk about where we see videos, I can't find it. Where are we finding those videos you're talking about?
Okay. Okay, the videos, let me share my screen again. I'm going to share my screen again. So this is where once you come to the page, I'm talking about the e-learning platform page. Look at it here. Click on this, Introduction to Biodiversity Week 1. Once you click on it, it comes up with the contents in Introduction to Biodiversity Week 1. So come down and you click on what is an importance of biodiversity. Chindo,
Okay.
may I know if you have gotten it? All right.
Okay.
So once you click on it,
Uh-huh.
yes, once you click on it, let me click on it again. I have just 2 minutes left. Once you click on it again, you see the video uploading. You see video player uploading. Okay, so the video has uploaded now. Okay, so and that you get the videos you can watch and good, and your knowledge will further be enhanced. So having gone through this, I'm going to share the training program again. I'm still with you, please. Okay. So I've been finished for this for today's today's training program, and so we've been able to discuss biodiversity as it is and the importance and their links to our, as how it affects our environment and what we see on daily activities, and we'll be able to navigate through the weekly activities we have been able to do. So I want to also appreciate you for your punctuality and your commitment to this course. And we hope that in the course of the weekend, you'll be able to attempt the assignments and scroll through peruse through the e-learning platform in order to get a full details of what we have for you, and also attempt the questions, the assignments as they are. So let me unshare my screen now. So with all of this, may I know what you have learned so far? Can anyone just tell us what 1 or 2 things that you have learned? Maybe I should start picking names. I should start mentioning names now. Can I call on Pafo, Ignatius? Can you just tell us what you've learned so far? Ignatius?
Yeah, Ayo.
Yeah.
Good. Let me talk about the discussion we just had, which is the link between biodiversity and water. There are certain things that,
just 30 seconds.
We see around and we don't take notice of, like the fish in the water. The fish in the water, we just see them as normal things, but we don't think of the links between biodiversity and that fish in the water, what the water does for the fish, and the fish gets food from the water. So this is what I have learned.
You are correct. You are correct. You are correct. Okay, I'll move over to Chinedu. Just 10 seconds, just one thing in one word. What have you learned so far?
I've learned that biodiversity is somewhat connected to everything around us, the water, the soil, the forest. We can't just neglect them because without these things, man, we won't be able to do what we're supposed to do.
Yes, you are correct. That's absolutely correct.
Can you hear me?
Let me quickly move to Chindo. Yes, I can hear you. I got in the message. Let me quickly move to Chindo. Chindo, may I know what you learned so far?
What I learned so far is that I underestimated the importance of biodiversity in our lives.
Okay, all right.
So now
I've learned
a lot.
All right.
Okay.
I'm very happy
I've learned
that
the
all of you have
importance
learned one or two things.
of having a biodiversity.
All right. Thank you very much, Chindo. I believe everyone has learned one or two things, and we hope to start practicing everything as it is, but in respect to conserving the biodiversity in our environment. So like I said, please go through the e-learning platform, attempt the questions, and I know that you'll be fine. If you have any challenges with regards to navigating the e-learning platform, please do well to chat us on WhatsApp, and we readily send you the feedback and give you the solution on how to go about it. We want to appreciate you once again. Thank you for coming, and we hope to see you on Monday by 7 o'clock GMT with respect to your own time. Can I, at this point, say bye to everyone?
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a wonderful weekend.
Benedict and Ayo.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.